I was making breakfast in our Montmartre apartment when my husband Julien walked into the kitchen holding an envelope. Not just any envelope. A brown manila envelope with Nigerian stamps. Addressed to his mother. And inside, my God, inside was my marriage certificate from Lagos. The one I'd signed when I was 22. The marriage I'd been running from for 6 years. Mon chéri, Julien said softly, his blue eyes confused, heart devastated. My mother received this yesterday. She asked me to come alone to talk. But I want to hear it from you first. My hand froze on the coffee pot. The cup I was holding slipped, shattered on our beautiful French tiles. Just like my entire carefully constructed life. Let me tell you how a girl from Enugu ended up with 2 husbands on 2 different continents, and how the past has a way of finding you no matter how far you run. In Nigeria, I was supposed to be somebody. First-class degree in economics from University of Nigeria. My parents' pride. The daughter who would marry well, make the family proud. That's exactly what happened. Except, marrying well, in my village meant marrying Chief Okonkwo's son, Emeka. On paper, Emeka was perfect, returning from UK, running his father's businesses, money everywhere. What the village didn't know. Emeka's businesses were 419 scams and drug trafficking. What I didn't know until after the traditional marriage. He already had 2 wives in Lagos and Abuja. What nobody knew. He was being monitored by EFCC. 3 months into that marriage, I knew I had to leave. Not just Emeka, Nigeria entirely. Because in our culture, you don't just divorce a chief's son. You bring shame to your entire family. You become the bad wife, the rebellious daughter, the cursed woman no man will touch. And Emeka made it clear, you can leave this house, Addis. But you can never leave this marriage. I will find you anywhere in Nigeria. So I applied for everything. Every scholarship, every program, every opportunity to leave Nigeria. 6 months of applications and rejections until finally, I got accepted to a master's program in Paris. Full scholarship. Carte de séjour pour études. My escape route. I told my parents I was going to study. I told Emeka I was visiting my sick aunt in Delta State. I left Nigeria with 1 suitcase and no intention of ever going back. I never filed for divorce. How could I? Filing meant Emeka would know where I was. Filing meant family meetings, village elders, pressure to work it out. Filing meant giving him power over me again. So I just disappeared. Changed my phone number. Blocked everyone except my younger sister, Chioma, who swore to keep my secret. Became a ghost. In my mind, I'd left that marriage 7,000 kilometers behind. I was wrong. Paris was everything Nigeria wasn't. Nobody knew my family. Nobody knew my history. Nobody called me Emeka's wife. The first year was brutal. My studio in the 18th arrondissement was so small, I could touch both walls while lying in bed. The cold seeped into my bones in ways Lagos heat never prepared me for. My French was terrible, I'd studied it in secondary school, but Parisians spoke so fast, so sharp. And the racism. Oh, the racism. Return don't turn pace. Go back to your country, from the woman whose child I helped when he fell on the metro. Tu parles bien français pour un Africain. You speak French well for an African. From my professor, like it was a compliment. Security guards following me in Montmartre. Landlords suddenly renting to someone else when they met me in person. But I survived. I worked at an African hair salon on weekends, did my masters during the week, ate rice and beans for months to save money. Then I met Julien. He came into the salon one Saturday to surprise his Senegalese colleague with a gift card. He had kind eyes, a nervous smile, and he didn't stare at me like I was exotic or strange. He looked at me like I was just a person. We started talking. Then coffee. Then dates. Then love. Real love. The kind where he learned to eat egusi soup without complaining. The kind where I learned to kiss cheeks 3 times instead of hugging. The kind where he said, "I don't care what my mother thinks," Jem, when his family raised eyebrows at his African girlfriend. When my student visa was ending and I was facing deportation, Julien proposed. Not just to save me, though that was part of it, but because he genuinely wanted to spend his life with me. The prefecture approved my carte de séjour vie privée et familiale. I was legal. I was safe. I was French-Nigerian Adiz, not Chief Okonkwo's runaway daughter-in-law. We got married at the mairie in the 11th arrondissement. Small ceremony. His parents came, stiff and formal, but they came. My family thought I was still just studying in France, sending the occasional photo of the Eiffel Tower. For 6 years, I lived this beautiful, peaceful life. I should have known peace never lasts when you build it on secrets. The marriage certificate in Julien's hands wasn't just paper. It was evidence of bigamy, a crime in France. It was proof that our entire marriage might be invalid. It was ammunition for deportation. Adiz, Julien's voice cracked. Tell me this is fake. Tell me someone is playing a cruel joke. I wanted to lie. God, I wanted to lie. But the look on his face, the betrayal, the confusion, I couldn't. It's real, I whispered. But Julien, please, let me explain. You're married. His voice rose. This whole time. 6 years of marriage, and you're already married to someone else. I left him. I ran away from that marriage before I even met you. He was dangerous, Julien. Why didn't you divorce him? Why didn't you tell me? Because I was scared. Because divorce meant he'd find me. Because I thought if I just pretended hard enough, that life would disappear. But I couldn't say that. Because the real question wasn't why I didn't divorce. It was how his mother got that certificate. Julien, I said, my voice shaking. How did your mother get this? Who sent it? He looked at the envelope again. No return address. Just Nigerian stamps. Postmarked from Lagos 2 weeks ago. She said there was a letter with it. She wouldn't let me read it. She said I needed to handle my business and come talk to you first. A letter. Someone sent my Nigerian marriage certificate and a letter to my French mother-in-law. Someone knew where I was. Someone knew I'd never divorced. Someone wanted to destroy everything. My phone buzzed. WhatsApp message. Unknown number. Nigerian country code. I see you got my package. You thought you could run forever, Adiz. Your real husband is waiting. Come home, or your French fantasy ends. You have 1 week to respond. My hands trembled so violently I dropped the phone. Julien picked it up, read the message. His face went pale. Who is this? Is this your husband? But I was staring at the message. Something was wrong. That wasn't Emika's style. Emika was loud, violent, direct. This was calculated. Strategic. This was someone else. I need to call my sister, I said. Your sister? Julien looked incredulous. Adiz, someone just sent proof that you committed bigamy to my mother and is now blackmailing you, and you want to call your sister. My sister is the only person in Nigeria who knows where I am. I shouted. Nobody else knows. Not my parents, not my ex, nobody. If someone found me, they had to go through Chioma. I called her. Once. Twice. 3 times. The number you have dialed is not available. My blood went cold. The next 48 hours were a nightmare in slow motion. Julien moved to the guest room. I need space to think, Adiz. This is too much. His mother called. I could hear her through the door, speaking rapid angry French. Bigamy, mensonge, immigrant opportunist. Bigamy, lies, opportunistic immigrant. I tried Chioma again and again. Nothing. I called my mother. Mommy, please, I need to speak to Chioma. It's urgent. Adiz. Why are you calling? Is everything fine? You need money. No, mommy. Just please, put Chioma on the phone. Chioma is not here. She traveled to Port Harcourt to see her friend. She said she'll be back next week. Port Harcourt. Chioma didn't have friends in Port Harcourt. I tried her best friend in Enugu. Have you heard from Chioma? Oh, that girl. She's been acting strange. Last week, she was asking me if I remember where Chief Okonkwo's family compound is. She said you asked her to check something for you there. I told her that's odd because you're in France. Why would you send her to your ex-husband's family? She just laughed and said never mind. My stomach dropped. Chioma went to Emeka's compound. Chioma, the only person with my parents' address, my marriage information, everything. But why? Then my mother's voice came back on the line. Adiz, actually, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. Chioma has been having money problems. Her boutique in Enugu collapsed. She owes a lot of people money. She's been asking everyone in the family for loans. Money problems. Desperate sister. Wealthy ex-husband's family who would pay anything to humiliate the wife who ran away. Oh God. My own sister sold me out. I tried her one more time. This time, she picked up. Chioma, what did you do? Silence. Then her voice, small and guilty. Ada, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You sent my marriage certificate to Julian's mother. I didn't want to. But Ada, you don't understand. I owe people money. Dangerous people. Emeka's family said they'd pay off all my debts if I just told them where you were and helped them get proof. Proof for what, Chioma? They want you back in Nigeria. For the wedding anniversary. Chief Okonkwo is having a big celebration and Emeka needs his proper wife there to save face. If you don't come, they said they'll make sure your marriage in France is invalidated. They'll report you to French immigration for fraud. I couldn't breathe. You destroyed my entire life for your boutique debts. I didn't have a choice, Ada. You left. You went to France and you're living fine while I'm drowning here. You're always sending small money, but never enough. You married your Oyinbo man and forgot about us. I left because I was trapped in an abusive marriage. And I'm trapped in debt. At least your trap came with money. She hung up. I sat on the floor of my Parisian apartment, surrounded by IKEA furniture and French books and photos of me and Julien at Versailles, and I felt like I was drowning. My carte de séjour renewal was in 2 weeks. If Emeka's family reported the bigamy before then, I'd be denied. If I was denied, I'd have to leave France. If I left France. Julien opened the door. My mother wants to meet you. Tomorrow. She wants answers. Julien's mother, Sylvie, lived in a beautiful apartment in the 7th arrondissement, the kind with high ceilings and crown molding and paintings that cost more than my entire education. She sat across from me, perfectly dressed, perfectly cold. So, she said in crisp French. You committed bigamy. You lied to my son. You used him for papers. That's not. Do not interrupt me. Her voice could cut glass. I told Julien you were a mistake. African women, they come to France for opportunity. For papers. They trap French men. But he didn't listen. He said you were different. Maman, that's enough, Julien said quietly. No, Julien. This is not enough. She is a fraud. She lied about her entire life. And now there is a man in Nigeria claiming she is his wife, threatening to report her to immigration. I left that marriage. I said, my voice breaking. I was trapped. Do you know what it's like to be married to a violent man in a country where divorce brings shame to your entire family? I had no choice but to run. You had a choice to tell my son the truth. And what would he have done? Would he have married a woman with an undissolved marriage from Nigeria? Would you have accepted me then? Sylvie's silence was answer enough. I love your son, I continued. Not for papers. Not for money. I love him because he is kind and good and he saw me as a person when everyone else saw me as African first. I should have told him. I know. But I was terrified that if I did, I'd lose everything again. Julien looked at me. Really looked at me. Adis, I would have helped you. We could have figured it out together. We could have gotten you a divorce, handled it legally. Divorcing Emeka means going back to Nigeria for court hearings. It means his family knowing where I am. It means putting myself in danger. So instead you committed a crime in France. Sylvie snapped. My phone buzzed. Another WhatsApp message. Same unknown number. Time's up. I'm at the Nigerian embassy in Paris. I have proof of your bigamy. I'm filing the report today unless you transfer 50,000 euros by 5 p.m. Your choice, your money or your life in France. I showed them the message. This is blackmail, Julien said. This is a crime. We need to call the police. If we call the police, they'll investigate, I said. They'll discover the bigamy. I'll be charged. I'll be deported anyway. Sylvie looked at the message, then at me. For the first time, I saw something other than coldness in her eyes. Maybe it was pity. Maybe it was recognition. I was married before Julian's father, she said quietly. An abusive man. I left him and moved to Paris to start over. I never told anyone because I was ashamed. Julien stared at his mother in shock. The difference, Sylvie continued, is that I handled it legally. But I understand why you ran, Adis. I don't forgive the lies to my son. But I understand the running. She picked up her phone. I'm calling our family lawyer. If this person is at the Nigerian embassy making threats, they are bluffing. The embassy doesn't handle French immigration. But they can help us. Within an hour, we were at the lawyer's office. Within 2 hours, we had a plan. The blackmailer wasn't at the Nigerian embassy. That was a lie to create urgency. But they were in Paris. The message location data showed they were somewhere in Château Rouge, the African neighborhood. I had an idea who it was. My sister's boyfriend, I told them. He lives in Paris. He's been trying to get French papers for years. Chioma must have told him everything. The lawyer set up a trap. We'd agree to meet to pay the money. The police would be waiting. At 4 p.m., I sent a message, I have the money. Meet me at Sacré-Cœur. Top of the steps. 5 p.m. At 4:45 p.m., I stood at the top of those iconic white steps, Paris stretched out below me, Julien and 2 plainclothes police officers nearby. At 5:03 p.m., I saw him. Chioma's boyfriend, Chidi. The one who always talked about how he'd make it in France, how he deserved papers more than other Africans who got lucky with marriage. He smiled when he saw me. Adis. My sister-in-law. You look well. You're blackmailing me. I'm offering you a choice. Pay me, and I stay quiet. Don't pay, and I report you. It's business. You destroy my life for 50,000 euros. You destroyed your sister's life by leaving her behind. She's suffering in Nigeria while you're here drinking wine and eating croissants. You think you're better than us because you married an Oyinbo man. I left an abusive marriage. And I'm in an abusive country. France doesn't want us here, Adis. They make us beg for papers, walk under the table, live in fear. At least you got lucky. So yes, you pay for that luck, or you lose it. The police moved in. Chidi ran. They caught him at the bottom of the steps. In his bag, copies of my Nigerian marriage certificate, screenshots of WhatsApp conversations with Emeka's family, a written confession of the blackmail scheme. Evidence. The next weeks were a legal storm. Chidi was charged with blackmail. He sounded like a canary, told the police everything about how Emeka's family had paid Chioma to find me, how he'd seen an opportunity to make money, how he threatened to report me to immigration. But here's what saved me: French law allows for marriage under duress to be dissolved. With my lawyer's help, I filed for my Nigerian marriage to be declared invalid in France on grounds that it was coercive and I'd fled in fear for my safety. It took 3 months. 3 months of interviews, documentation, statements from people who knew about Emeka's violence. My carte de séjour was extended pending the decision. Julien didn't leave. But he didn't stay in our bedroom either. He needed time. Space. Therapy. We both did. His mother, surprisingly, became an ally. You remind me of who I was, she told me. Desperate to escape. Too ashamed to ask for help. Too scared to tell the truth. The judge ruled in my favor. My Nigerian marriage was declared invalid in France. I could stay. I wasn't deported. But my marriage to Julien, that was still uncertain. We're in couples therapy. Twice a week. It's hard. Some days Julien looks at me like he doesn't know who I am. Some days I don't know who I am either. Am I Adiz who fled Nigeria? Adiz who loves Julien? Adiz who lied for 6 years? Adiz who survived? All of them? None of them? Someone in between. My carte de séjour is now a carte de resident, 10 years, renewable. I'm as legal as I can be without citizenship. Chioma and I don't speak. She sent one message, I'm sorry. I left her unread. Maybe one day I'll forgive her. Today is not that day. Chidi was deported back to Nigeria. Karma is real. Emeka's family tried to contact me one more time, threatening to come to Paris. My lawyer sent them a cease and desist. They went quiet. And Julien? Last week, he moved back into our bedroom. Not because everything is fixed, but because he said, I married you for better or worse. I didn't know worse would be this complicated. But I meant those vows. We'll figure it out. We are figuring it out. I thought leaving Nigeria would free me. What I learned is that freedom isn't a place. It's not Nigeria or France or anywhere else. Freedom is being able to tell the truth about who you are, where you've been, and what you've survived, and still be loved anyway. I'm not there yet. But for the first time in 6 years, I think I might get there. And if you're reading this planning to jump to France or anywhere else, hear me, the life you run from will find you. Handle it before you leave. Divorce the person. Clear the debt. Tell the truth. Because the farther you run, the harder the past hits when it catches up. And it always catches up. Have you ever kept a secret from someone you love because you were terrified they'd leave if they knew the truth? Drop a red heart if you felt this story. And if you're Nigerian in France or anywhere abroad dealing with double life stress, you're not alone. I beg, tell someone. Get help before it explodes. Part 2 coming soon, what my mother-in-law did when she found out why I really left Nigeria. Subscribe if you want more real diaspora stories, the ones nobody posts on Instagram.